everybody, welcome to Real Life Sci-Fi. I'm Wade.
Willie.
This is a nice.
That was so that it could start on my face when I started talking.
Because we've got the Zoom auto switch. Got it. Yeah, so only speak when you're highlighted. This is a paranormal podcast where we discuss contemporary mythology and the paranormal. Fuck, I forgot how I say this. But anyway, let's welcome aboard the SSRLSF. It's our good friend. He's been here a bunch of times. Eric Acosta. What's up, Eric?
Hi, look, now it's on me.
Yay!
All right.
Nope.
Oh, it
Sorry.
didn't work.
How's it going, bro?
Oh, it's going good. This is while I may have been a frequent guest, this is a first, I believe. I don't know that I've ever done a Zoom one.
Oh, is that true?
Not that I can remember.
Well, we thank you for being here. We had a very last minute cancellation, and so we appreciate you jumping on here to talk
Fuck
about
you,
some
George
shit
Clooney.
you've
Fuck
never
you.
heard about.
Fuck you, George Clooney.
Man, I mean, he's nice, but like his schedule is so fucking hard. It's like, come on, dude. Like 2 weeks we were talking to him, and he's like, I'm definitely gonna do it. And then guess what? Fucking Ocean's 14 coming out now.
He's a huge flake. Everyone knows it.
Plus, he's pranking us constantly. He's just always putting shaving cream in our shoes, which isn't even really a prank. It's just like, cool.
Hey.
Now I have shaving cream in my shoes.
Yeah, and that's so Clooney. It's so Clooney.
There needs to be a Clooney as a verb. It's like clowning, only you wear a suit. You're into comedy, right? I mean,
yeah, sure.
like you don't do the live comedy anymore, but are you aware of clowning? Have you heard of this clowning thing that is now? I've only like really tangentially heard of it, so I'm not even sure what it is.
No, I only know what it is.
You haven't heard of it?
Not in a actual specific activity.
It's a whole new thing, man. It's a whole new like genre of comedy where they call it clowning, but they don't look like clowns or anything. And they do like live performances, and that's all I know.
Like they do like tricks and stunts or something, you mean?
I think it's like comedy. It's like comedy clowning. It's not like tricks. It's like, oops,
Right,
I fell into this cake.
Right. Yes. Okay.
I don't know if they fall into cakes. I hope they do.
But I know what it's like pratfalls and things like that. But
it's like characters. It's a lot of characters. Willie, do you know anything about this? Can you shed any light onto this?
Without even also knowing anything, I feel like when everyone started doing those, what were those secret dances where people would show up and
flash mobs?
So I know this is something totally different, but I feel like it was like, oh, we can do stuff too. So it's kind of like a performance clown thing in the same vein, but like not to like impress someone, but to press everyone.
I don't know. All I've heard is it's very toxic in that world. Like it's very like abusive and
of course is because it's to be taken seriously.
Oh, that's the best part. The best comedy genres are the ones that you have to take super seriously.
Yes, that's what I want in my comedy.
This is a fucking trade. I've worked hard to do this open mic. All right, well, let's get on with the show here. We do something here called the WOW scale. It stands for Wade or Willie. WOW scale.
Are you a Wade or are you a Willie?
It's a 5-question quiz. At the end of the 5 questions, I will grade you anywhere between 0 and 5. If you're more of a 5, you're more of a Willie. If you're more of a 0, you're more of a Wade. Are you ready to be Wade on the WOW scale?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Also, I apologize for my cough. Getting over a thing. So I've noticed every time I cough, the Zoom auto switches back to me. So you're going to see a lot of me just coughing while I'm listening. First question. 3-parter. Do you believe in aliens? If so, have they visited Earth? If so, have they visited Earth in the last 300 years?
Do I believe in aliens? Yes, I do. Have they visited Earth? Sure, I believe that. In the last, what's the number again?
Have they visited Earth in the last 300 years?
Oh, last 300.
So basically, since America came around.
Right. That's the one that always trips me up, huh? That's the good one there.
Because most of the sightings are like the 50s and stuff, you know?
That's true. Yeah. I think I lean maybe not in the last hundreds of years.
What do you
But
think, though? Do you think they helped build the pyramids?
you know what? I don't I'm not exact. I don't rule out the idea that we are their ancestors or vice versa, you know, like that they seeded this planet.
Yeah, like a Prometheus.
Right.
All right, question number 2. Do you believe in ghosts?
Do not.
No ghost stories.
No, I've
You're
never.
from Chicago, suburbs of Chicago.
Right.
When was your house built? Like 70s or something, you think?
The house that I grew up in.
Yeah.
I won't be able to tell you from grades kindergarten until 6th grade. I really don't know how old that house was. Then after that, I moved into a house that we got. It was a model home we got to watch being built. So we're the first
Oh,
family.
wow.
Yeah.
So definitely no ghosts in that house. Third question, Bigfoot.
No, I got smaller feet, I guess.
You know what they
Knock
say
it
about
off.
small feet.
Knock it off. You know what we're doing here.
Did you guys hear about you know the small foot, small penis thing is a myth, right?
Right.
But I did hear nose, the length of the nose can be you can predict a man's penis by the size of his nose.
My guess is there is no predictor.
Well, it's based on how much testosterone you had in the womb. And it affects your nose length and your penis.
So moms, fill up on that testosterone when you're pregnant.
Take some T shots. Get that next fucking John. Who was that guy? John Holmes.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with no, I do not. I don't think there's a Bigfoot.
Question 4: psychics.
I'm gonna lean no. I'm trying to think in previous episodes, I probably came out as a 1 or something like that.
Hey, don't worry about the score. All right, last question. Do you believe that life is a simulation? Do we live in a simulation, or do you believe in simulation theory of any kind?
That's a new question.
Yeah.
No, I can't possibly believe that. No.
You're one. You're
Yeah,
like me. You're basically me.
I'm a cynical, skeptical person. Yeah.
Well, maybe that all changes tonight. Willie, hit us with the topic.
Tonight on Real Life Sci-Fi, the Nazca Lines. These ancient geoglyphs / drawings in southern Peru were created between 500 BC, 580, somewhere in there. And these are giant drawings that you can only see from up in the air. Who are these for? Who could have possibly been looking at these? What are these drawings? And why were they made? And can we crack that code tonight on Real Life Sci-Fi?
So, because when I was explaining this to Eric, I got it wrong. The Nazca lines are not. What are the other lines that you talk about? That
ley lines.
Ley lines. That's what I was thinking of. So Nazca lines are. This is my layman's term. My layman's
Your lay
descriptor. My lay splain. Not ley line splain. Layman splain. Of they're basically crop circles only from thousands of years ago and not in crops, right? Are they dirt?
Yeah. Have you seen those? Did you see the Star Wars where Luke Skywalker died?
Well, first of all, yes. Wait, he died?
Yeah.
Wait, oh yeah. He died. I forgot that he died. Yeah.
So I kind of feel like they were inspired by that dirt. So that dirt is white until you run over it, then it turns red.
Oh right, yeah, okay.
So this dirt in Peru is dark, and if you so they're only about 6 inches deep. They've moved the dirt to create these big drawings, but it's very white underneath them. There is a series of lines and drawings of animals that goes for about 200 miles, and the general size of them, gosh, I keep trying to find. They're all different, you know, but some of them are about 400 yards, just bigger than a football field.
So it's like a par 4 for the golfers.
And you can
out there.
see a lot of people didn't even see them until they saw the lines. There's this dude that was writing about him when he first went down there in 1553. He's like, oh, there's, trail markers and roads everywhere. Well, once we started flying, we flew over these things like, oh my gosh, there's these drawings of these animals that you can only see from up here.
They're animals?
Well, the
Yeah.
one there's a one I know that's a spider.
Yeah, there's a spider, monkey, hummingbird. And the crazy
there's
thing
also abstract ones, or they're all animals?
there's a couple people, there's abstract ones, yeah. And then also in that area, so if you look up the Nazca lines, you're going to find the monkey, the spider, the hummingbird.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like geometric drawings. You're like, oh gosh, it's pretty cool. You look down on the ground, they just like move some dirt along, but they had to be very accurate, like if you were faking a crop circle,
Yeah, I don't know if people are golfers out there, but a par 4 means you take 2 shots just to get to the green. So think of how far a golf ball goes when you hit it. Maybe not you, someone good at golf. And now think of that times 4.
The yards to the cup is not necessarily what determines what the par is, right? It's like,
hang on a second, you just totally busted me. He's talking feet, I'm talking yards, right? You didn't say yards, you said feet, didn't you?
No, I said 400 yards.
Oh, okay, great. So yeah, it works. It's mostly distance. Par 3s will be up to 200. Anything more than that is a little ridiculous. Par 4s are like 400. If you're into 500, it's par 5s.
So this got really big when Chariots of the Gods came out in the 70s, because he was supposing that there's drawings, markers, whatever, and then there's giant what looks like runways, and there's lines in every direction. There's just lines everywhere, and then bigger and wider geometric shapes. There's this one that is a circle with squares in it, and a very geometric looking thing would be hard to. Anyways, no matter how hard it would be, but so he supposed that
it's an engineering feat.
Yeah, that these were runways for aliens,
right? And aliens just like cute animals too, and spiders. So they're like, we want to be greeted when we come. Make us a cute little critter.
And then some people have claimed that these drawings actually correlate to underground rivers, because it's so dry and deserted that even when these were made over 2,000 years ago, they just still have just been left alone. No rain, no, not much of anything.
Yeah. Do you know what they're just dug? Are they like dug up? Are they like, is it they like created, like they dug out the dirt and created like, some sort of ditch to make the shapes, like how?
Yes.
How permanent did they make them?
I mean, they are dug out, and the dirt has changed color underneath them, and a lot of groups in that area would walk the lines, because the drawing, there's one line in and one line out. I mean, it's the same line, so you can walk the whole drawing of it. So there's religious ceremonies where they walk along all the animals that were drawn. So that's what we have attributed this all to. This is just worship, probably a water worship of some sort.
Did they know that they were following? Well, there's no answer to this because you don't know what they knew, but like, is the theory that they intentionally drew them the same as the water lines? And are they like above where the water is? Could it not just be a marker for where water is?
I personally think that these lines do that, and they do other things. It's kind of like if you look at Leonardo da Vinci painting, where it's like it has geometry in it, the way that it uses the golden ratio. You look at a lot of the pyramids and structures back then being built in Egypt. They also use a lot of the same geometric structure to make all that stuff. So locked within it, the way that I take it is that all of our information that we know is put into our art, and this is that. So what is put into this art? Well, there's water under here.
Do you think that they could just be bad at drawing and that the monkey is really a horse? Like if I tried to do this, it would be indecipherable.
No, it's a pretty good monkey. Yep. Yeah,
yeah, it is. It's a monkey. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
Oh,
very
you're
much.
right. Horses do have monkey tails.
The tail looks like you were just doodling. No, that's a tail.
I started with it. That's how I
So,
start all my monkeys.
So what they're finding now is that all of these animals, it's actually a reflection of the sky, and so that these are constellations, and all of these lines correlate to different parts of solstices, equinoxes. Some of them point to different megalithic structures in the world. Like it. So here's the weird thing, right? If you take the ancient pyramids, and then you take the structures in I can't think right now, somewhere in Asia, and then you take these ones in Peru, they also all three line up with the belt of Orion, just like the three pyramids of Giza.
Right.
So it's kind of like, I mean, it's crazy. This whole thing is just like a giant map of the sky, but also there's a lot more to it.
That almost seems less crazy to me because it's like, yeah, what else are you going?
Well, I feel like the one, like, especially if they're going to be these things having been made, whatever BC that they did, you know, one of the most common things that people of that era did was try to communicate with gods, and I feel like, and this seems like this could be a way of some sort of, like, you know, communication with some deity from above. Like they'll be able to see this from up there, you know, this is
especially if you're using stars, because then it's like that's how you create language, right? You mimic
right.
what the other person does and try to understand what they're saying. That's a good is that in there, Willie, in your readings?
Yeah, but most of this isn't accepted by anybody who,
Right.
you know, by the classic. And so here's the crazy thing about what's happening now is they found, using AI and drones and whatnot, they found new glyphs that they couldn't see before that are way older than these ones.
That are under the ground?
Over 140 of them. They're just there. They've just been kind of, you know how you scratch the dirt, move the dirt. They've kind of just been covered over because they're a lot older.
Well, that's why I don't understand how any of these are still around. Like how have they not been covered up when it's been over 2,000 years?
You got to watch that Star Wars movie, bud. No. It really is just dug out, and like there's just not that much. And right, it's just like an untouched area. It's just like dry desert.
Because then you go into like Egypt, and I know that's sand, but like that shit covers stuff up like immediately,
slowly burying the pyramids.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I guess I don't know what the climate conditions are of where these things are, but if the lines are actually like dug out trenches, I suppose those could last for some time, right?
Right, but it's weird because you'd feel like the rain would like bring the dirt back in and cover it up, and it just
100%. Yeah, that's weird. So these other ones that they've uncovered, they weren't as deep, or how are they different? Like are they more ancient because they've been covered up?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what you said. They're like 100 years older.
There's actually some on mountainsides. They're not all in the same area where they're like on the ground. So you could see them from the ground, a lot of these older ones.
So wait, help me out. When was what's that Mexican community that like disappeared out of nowhere and they built all their shit into the sides?
Mayans?
Yeah, Mayans. When were the Mayans? Just for me, I'm just trying to get a time frame in my head here.
Right, I'm just gonna look it up because I'm not gonna guess.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's AD though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we lost track of them just because of history.
The story is that they died off from starvation, and that a lot of their worship was from weather worship, and they had a lot of drought and famine and stuff. They still don't have all the bodies of a whole civilization. And
all the bodies?
Yeah, so that civilization just kind of disappeared. There's a few civilizations that
they would have found remains, but not this one. Is that what you mean?
The Mayan, they should have found all their bones. They're all gone. You know what I mean?
Oh, you're still talking about the Mayans.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, got it. Sorry.
They were around even up to 1700. It says 250 to 700. Okay, well, that's a huge stretch, but
That's much more modern than the lines. The lines are BC.
yeah. Well, not by much. You know, they're like, what was it, 200 BC, and the start of the Mayans is like 250 CE. So they're right there at the end.
I mean that's a good 500 years or so.
Yeah, that's a good double America.
Yeah.
We're done, right? We're done with this.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Let's move on from America.
Double America.
I'm very bad at like time frames, so I have to
Yeah.
I'm bad at measurements, I'm bad at time frames. I have to relate it all to golf and how long America's been around.
So wait. What did you say again? Okay.
Which is funny because the whole like how long America has been around, it's not like you've been around for all of America, but somehow it still gives you a frame of reference, like, oh sure, beginning of America. Yeah.
I get it. You watch old movies and you're like, oh, okay. That's what 200 years ago was like. I get it.
You watch old movies.
No, well, no. I mean, that's funny.
I
I meant like whatever that. There's that new Leonardo DiCaprio movie that's.
I've seen It's a Wonderful Life. I know what it was like.
Yeah, back in the beginning of America when angels would visit Jimmy Stewart. Yeah, I know.
I think I know about our forefathers. Thank you.
It's daunting to talk history with Eric because he's a historian. He's a
Not a,
amateur historian.
I just like it.
He's a
Dude,
pay attentioner.
I have to call this out. I'm so sorry. I'm distracted because I'm by a window that has like an annual termite like run, like whatever it's called when termites are born.
Okay.
And usually they're so big that they get caught in between the window pane and the screen. And so they kind of like fuck around in there. Some get out, some just die in there. But apparently I've got like smaller ones because I just keep finding them everywhere. And so I'm just murdering termites as we.
Oh my gosh.
Like it's
admitted that on Zoom.
well,
yeah,
what?
the rain
It's
made
not like
them all
termites
come out.
It's not like I'm infested because I'm a dirty person.
No, I mean you said you're murdering them.
Oh,
Right, for everyone to hear.
sorry, PETA. Sorry. Maybe if I wouldn't have killed all the spiders in here. Sorry. So anyway, if you see me moving around, that's what's happening. I just felt like I had to address it because now I'm like hyper conscious of killing all these fuckers. But anyway, Nazca Lines. What about them?
Yeah, what do you think? But yes, we've established now that yes, it was a long time ago, even longer than the Mayans. We know that
my one frame of reference, the Mayans, who I couldn't even remember. Fuck. Such an idiot.
I mean,
go on.
Is there a definitive answer even for what crop circles are?
And there definitely have been a lot faked, but there's definitely been a lot that I don't think you could make in one night.
I would say allegedly instead of definitely. Yeah. The foremost conclusion, Eric, is that they've been largely faked.
Okay.
For the ones that if you're talking to anybody who is like researching the crop circles, what they say is that on the faked ones, all of the hay, whatever tubes are broken. And on the ones that are legit, the nodes are folded over and then they will continue to grow. Those will keep growing. The broken ones will not. So like, and they claim that there are magnetic properties. Your electronics do not work in them. And so here's a crazy thing too. Looking into this research, somebody was saying that because I people always say, oh, it's the could be the landing pads, these circles,
right?
And also they've evolved with our technology. There's more complex ones, you know. Some people think that the crop circles are made from using the ship, but using gravities to form the. Oh, I can't. I lost. I did. I can't remember the thing because somebody was comparing how these structures, how the crop circles are made. I'm sorry, I'm lost. I'm done.
Oh, they're similar.
But the lines are making
The lines
things that human beings would recognize. Crop circles are just abstract, right? There's no crop circles.
Yeah, that's true.
Human recognize. I mean,
No, and if there are, it's definitely a man-made one. Like, because there's been like Pepsi logos. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, those
Oh,
are
the-
definitely they're
the aliens
definitely
love
like
that.
ads.
the aliens love Pepsi.
oh wow.
That's where we went wrong when we decided as a society to be a Coke society. The aliens are like, no, Pepsi. Pepsi is the voice of a new generation.
They took their cure for cancer and went to another galaxy.
Have you guys ever? There's this really rare video game I've been trying to find. It's an Atari game. It's Space Invaders, but it's Pepsi Invaders. So Coke made it with Pepsi invading, and so all of the
Really?
little aliens are say it spells out Pepsi.
That seems
And it was
illegal.
It definitely probably was back then, but it was a promotional thing, and it's just a really valuable Atari game. At any rate,
That's
Um,
not know
Do
that
you
was-
think? Do you think that remember the Pizza Hut
Noid?
Noid video game?
with the Noid? Yeah.
Do you think that's worth anything, or do you think there's enough of them that people?
they pumped out too many. But basically, what's valuable is something that everybody threw away.
That's why I'm keeping all of my recipe cards for my meal kits because I'll bet in 50 years someone's like, no one kept those Blue Apron recipe cards, and I'll be like, cha-ching.
And then they'll be like, "Oh, good." Anyway,
They do exist. They belong in a museum. What?
Museum.
Did you see the new indie?
Oh yeah, I did.
Oh no, he fell
Oh,
asleep.
sorry.
It must have
sorry.
been so boring that he
No, I
even
was-
the recollection of seeing the movie has put him to sleep.
sorry. That was didn't know what
That
happened.
must be
there.
pretty bad.
Actually, that's what happens to me when I'm so excited.
Oh, you have a narcoleptic tendency.
I loved the movie so much. I was asleep. I thought that it felt like in a really big attempt to not be as bad as the last movie, they just went real tame and just we're just not going to do anything.
Who directed it?
It was
Somebody
the
new?
guy who did we know his assistant. It was the guy who did Logan. I can't think of his name. I think it starts with an M. Mangold? Jeffrey Mangold?
Is that right?
It was the guy who did Logan. That's what I know. I'm not certain of his name, but
Yeah, I was going
very
like if it
capable
was
director. James
James-
Mangold.
It is.
Good director. Probably not an indie direct like Indiana Jones director. I mean,
right.
it's hard. It's hard when Steven Spielberg created something that
Right.
you were then gonna step in and
What's
do
your
the same thing.
what's your favorite indie movie?
the
Winter's Bone.
name the dog Indiana. Indy, I mean.
But yeah, I
Shit.
was less. I was not that excited about that movie. I think the last.
Did you actually watch it or not?
I did. The last 10 minutes was the first time in the entire movie when I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." It was like
That's exactly what I heard. I heard the last 10 minutes
like,
because they go bonkers, right? They
Yeah,
like
well-
time travel. Don't they go back to ancient Greece or some shit?
by accident. Yeah, it's like, but it's the sort of part that's interesting about it. It's like, there's they think they understand how this one thing works, and it turns out they're totally wrong, and they end up at this crazy point where they weren't expecting, and then
but listen, you know how Zoomers love Socrates and they love Indy. And so, like, how do we get Socrates to talk with Indy?
Well,
How?
it wasn't. First of all, it wasn't Socrates, and also, I'm not ready to just.
Well, that's
say,
a
yeah.
swing and a miss.
We all know that boomers love Socrates. Really? Is
No,
that-
I said Zoomers. I said Zoomers.
even so, like, I guess I still don't know about the love there, But no, it's like that part where like that's the first part. Like, oh no, this is interesting. Being at this completely other time, and then it's like, oh, this is the final 10 minutes of the movie. Oh, okay. Like,
Yeah. Why doesn't Indiana Jones
figure out what the Nazca lines are.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they already did that with Crystal Skull, right? When an alien talked to him. So, Willie, do you really think that these are like what is your gut telling you? I know that
Well,
like the more fanciful version is the one that you would want to believe that it's landing strips for aliens, but doesn't it seem more like they're just mimicking constellations and marking water?
I keep bringing this up of late. If you've seen the documentary on Netflix by Graham Hancock called Ancient Apocalypse, I think that all of these ancient societies paid attention to the stars. Sure, it's what you could see. Sure, maybe that's where the gods came from. Sure, maybe that's where they came from. We're not going to figure out what they were what their relationship was with the stars, and I feel like their relationship with the stars is probably different too, because how you can't just figure all this stuff out by looking at it. Can't figure out the precession of the equinox by watching it for 13,000 years. And they have all these marks, and it's like, I feel like if you're going to put all that work in to lining stuff up, that what they might be doing is trying to make you look at a certain date. And this is what Ancient Apocalypse is saying, is that like, hey, these ancient humans, they studied this stuff. Maybe they were told information. I don't know, whatever. It seems like they're trying to key you in on a cycle or a time period of something happened, a specific date coming up. And
yeah, like a 2012, like the Mayans in the 2012.
Yeah. So one idea is that there is this giant planetoid thing that comes through, has a giant, goes away for a long time, that comes back in, and every time it comes back into our solar system, it wreaks havoc, sends comets and asteroids and all kinds of stuff our way, pulling from the asteroid belt and meteors. And so it's kind of like a reset.
Okay.
And the gods that we worship are the gods that created all this, and they recreate all this every 13,000 years. So this is what we should be paying attention to. If anything, a lot of this stuff happening around Peru is crazy because they have this structure down there. I forget what it's called, the doorway or something like that. And they have all these, they have a tunnel that goes underground where like you can see that a lot of ancient civilizations lived under there. And so a lot of people think that this is the warning to be like, hey, this is when you need to go underground, because we're not going to survive this if you're on the surface, and then come back out. And so another idea is that there is a galactic cycle from the center of the universe that like also does a reset. It could be the giant planet, could be the galactic reset that like just spews stuff out. It's just like, hey, when this date hits, get underground, and then you'll flourish. But it seems like some people seem to think that we are the fourth or the sixth civilization that has become technologically advanced that also couldn't figure out this information in time to not be thrown to the winds. And so some people think that what aliens are these breakaway civilizations that did figure it out. They kept their technology. They either went underground or they went to the moon. They survived. The rest of the fucking planet was dumb and they fucking died. And then they've seen the reset of humans having to build everything back up again. And we always come to nuclear war. And that there's
it seems like if either of those two, and like for me, if I think about those, and if either there was a breakaway civilization that was watching us repeat, like like the Matrix over and over again, or if there was advanced sort of modern civilizations before that got eliminated and reset, that like either by now there'd be some evidence of it, or there'd be at least somebody that attempted to contact us at some point. Like I totally buy 100% that, just like the Mayans, that these people believed these things, and it's totally believable and possible that those lines are a way for them to try to convey that information. But for me, I always come to the same conclusion. But of course, just like the Mayans, they're wrong. And that whole reset thing didn't actually happen. In 2012 didn't end the world, But I definitely can buy a civilization believing that and basing their civilization around it.
Well, but see, the thing, Eric, is I don't know that we would know that there was a reset. Like the whole thing about this is what I've learned from being on this podcast for 10 years. Once the technology is, see, that's why there's like ancient technology theories and stuff like that. It's like once that's lost, we're restarting. And so, like, there's nothing to say that in the early 1900s, we were the first ones to create an automobile. Like, they could have created that shit. There's this is actually about Indiana Jones. There's a gear. The whole
Antikythera mechanism.
Yeah, the Dial of Destiny is based on this thing. It's like a gear. It looks like the inside of a clock. And nobody knows what it's for. And it predates any time that they should have had that. And so that could be a leftover from like one of these times where we got wiped clean, right?
Like a civilization that would get to that point. If they are building, I mean, they certainly would have gotten to the point where they're building like structure, things that eventually would be discovered and probably more often, right? Like you said, if inevitably humans get to the point where they invent transportation, planes, trains, and automobiles, after there's a reset, certainly evidence of that stuff would likely be found, discovered, stick around for some time. Don't you think?
I think it depends on
but think of metal, dude. Like metal's gone in 1,000 years. Like any car is going to rust away no matter where it's at. You can't preserve a car for 1,000 years. You just can't. They're not going to find any of ours. Even if we buried them nicely, they would still be lost to the elements, I think. And maybe 1,000's light.
No, I think you're right. I mean, you can see junkers from 50 years ago that are like rusted out,
Go 5,000 years from now. What is our civilization going to look like? They're not going to figure out our money system.
Oh, we're not going to be around in 5,000 years, right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. But historians looking back at what they found of our stuff.
What do you think they would find? Like, what do you think would survive? And I know that we should be well versed in this now because we've got the whole like After Humans docu series where
I'll tell you what's going to last. I'll tell you what of ours will be around. Are trash.
Plastics? 5,000 years? Does that last?
Oh, it's funny. Plastic will last. You're right. Plastic will last longer than anything we've made.
So they're gonna find a bunch of fucking like 6-pack plastic loops and be like, "What is
bottles,
this?"
Water bottles and stuff.
Water bottles, I feel like they would be able to figure out, right? They'd be like, "Okay, well, this is obviously a container for something."
That's a funny premise for a movie to like find a future civilization finding our shit and be like, "Hey." Like, obviously like, oh, but this butt plug is actually like, does something else.
That's an entire part of The Little Mermaid. That's
where she thinks a fork is a brush and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
You have that bird. The bird, I forgot the name of the bird. The one that he thinks he knows what everything is. That's a dingle hopper.
Yeah. So 5,000. Like, how old are the pyramids according to you, Willie?
13,000.
So that old. How old are they to regular people?
3,000 or 4,000.
Okay, so Washington Monument, probably not too skinny. I'm trying to think of like, would the Eiffel Tower? No, because it's metal, right? Statue of Liberty also metal.
Yeah.
Like, what's a big thing that would last? Would the arch, the St. Louis Arch, what's that made of? Is that concrete?
It's concrete, but I feel like the rebar would all rust out inside of it and it'd crumble.
It can't rust though. It's not oxidizing within the concrete, is it?
Well, if the environment changes and it's just underwater, then it.
Well, sure, all that. But I'm saying, like, what is our one Mount Rushmore?
What about massive? It was Rushmore. Yeah, Rushmore's not going to go anywhere.
Okay, so we got Rushmore. Yeah, so they're going to be like, these ugly white people, I guess, killed themselves by strangling each other with tiny plastic rings.
Tiny little plastic rings. Apparently, they
must have been the dumbest.
I don't understand. They took these out to the ocean, apparently.
So we think they had some system of jetpacks where they would strangle a person with a tiny, tiny ring and then fly to the ocean. discard it to hide the evidence.
Some of the rings have skeletons in them of small animals.
That's their practice rings.
Mega sport. What about mega stadiums? Like will they? How long will those? Like SoFi.
Like the Coliseum. Yeah.
Yeah, right. The Coliseum still stands.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if these new ones are built to last, right? Like
They've definitely
take 'em-
a lot of the stadiums have definitely been scammed using cheap concrete. Is my guess. This is just me.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Own a sports team. Money is no object. Spend the most we can on the best material.
The taxpayers are picking up 2/3 of this, so let's really spend that money.
I love thinking of picture the Hoover Dam without any water on either side of it.
Yeah,
I mean, you could probably
that's
figure it out.
No, but that's a good, yeah. Like,
what the hell is this wall? Why'd they put this wall here?
yeah, like think of it. It's a wall and it's in between two giant caverns. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
We think that they were a highly segregated people, and one lived on one side.
So they had the blue shirts on this side, and then the red shirts were over here, and they just could not get along.
I do watch a lot of stuff on the crazy end of stuff, and like on Gaia TV, I love watching that stuff. There's somebody who says that these Nazca lines, there's a bunch of ley lines underneath it, a lot of running water underneath it, so that they've made them to work with the running water underneath them, and that by walking through the drawings, the glyphs, you can. And walking through the lines, because it's weird because every time in my life I've pictured Nazca lines, I've always been pointed to these animal drawings, and I'm like, the lines and the geometry of the other lines is just so much more remarkable. And this guy Matthias Di Stefano claims that these are portals, and these, walking through them, you can download the information. If it was during working times, means there was running water underneath it and you're walking over the ley lines,
Right,
that you would download information of the cosmos around you.
That's great. That's really fun. I love it. But like, I mean, come on. Why?
I mean, that's why I bring it
that?
up as a side. You know what I mean? I'm kind of
Right.
like, well, it's very cool. I would love to try to, you go to the pyramids, people take pictures sometimes and they see like just weird stuff, but they don't work because there's not running water underneath.
But I just wonder, what is the fascination with your group of people? Not to lump you into whatever group, I just don't know how else to whatever. But like, why are they so concentrated on that? People could harness the power of running water in a better way than we ever did, which is basically a fucking water mill. Like, why do they think that like magic happens?
The thing is, though, when you jump into physics and science, when you have running water, there is a current, there is energy. Like the same way you can tell which direction.
Well, yeah, it conducts, sure. But like, why would it be magical? Why would it be a thing where you can open up a gate? And like, why not? Obviously, but what is go on?
Think about just the concept of like hydroelectric, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you are an ancient civilization, that is magic. So it's like if you're experiencing water doing things that your prehistoric mind or whatever can't fathom, then why not also try to let you go to space or visit the gods or whatever? Because there's probably some sort of magical property to this water. Because look at the other things it does.
I just think that like they would be able to wrap their head around hydroelectric, because it's essentially the same premise as a water wheel. You're harnessing this kinetic energy, turning it into electrons and protons and neutrons, and powering things with it, right? Like, yeah, okay, it's a leap to throw all that at them, but essentially it's kinetic energy, right?
But here's the thing. On top of that, when you have electricity running through a wire, it creates a magnetic field. When you have water running straight, you create a magnetic field there too. So there actually is like some energy in sciences that we are still. I mean, like I'm not saying this is crazy. I'm saying that like running water gives you a magnetic field, and we produce magnetic fields too. So there's actually like more than meets the eye.
I mean,
Yeah, but that's like sorry, Eric, go ahead, because I'm just
No.
going to complain about magnetic fields.
I was gonna say, like, I don't totally dismiss the idea of like some sort of invisible connection binding human life and the earth and nature. Like, I don't totally dismiss that. I think that's possible.
Right. Yeah, why not?
Right.
What else do
You
we
think-
have?
Do you think the
God?
Ark of the Covenant can fit into the King's Chamber? That's the story that, you know, because right now the story is all the pyramids are tombs, and
yeah,
the Great Pyramid sarcophagus doesn't have a lid. There's a big crack in it. It has the same dimensions of what they described the Ark of the Covenant in the Bible. Not crediting that, but they do have a how to build an ark in it.
the suggestion being that the Ark of the Covenant was pulled through the tomb of through the pyramid, or what do you?
When like there's this school that tried to build an ark, and because there's descriptions on how to build it. When they built it, it was so unstable that it was going to kill people, so they stopped doing it. Basically, it's like an arc reactor almost, where like if you build this and then put it in the pyramid and have running water underneath it, then it somehow harnesses that energy.
Okay.
And like that's what that was for was. But you know, I mean, it's funny because I believe that more than the pyramids were tombs. No matter what.
I understand the inclination to want to believe that, but that's the same as wanting to believe that Mount Rushmore means more than just.
But it's not about wanting to believe it. It's about that. Honestly, these are not tombs. They've never found bodies in the pyramids, and they do not look like the tombs that they found that are decorated with art. And they're not, the pyramids, especially the ones of Giza, are not tombs.
No, listen, I don't think they're tombs. I'm just saying you can't say that they're either tombs or hydroelectric plants that.
Yeah, I'm not saying either.
God.
I'm saying I lean believing that more because there's less evidence of them being tombs.
I'm with you. I'm just weirded out that like all of these old things, people are like, well, obviously they knew more. It's like they couldn't have all been fucking geniuses, right?
I think they knew different. I think that our technological advances come with using our materials technologically better. I think they used their environment better.
But they have found like things that you would put in a tomb. Like they found like personal, like when they bury you with your jewelry or bury you with whatever, like they found that kind of stuff in there. I mean, it's like
not in the pyramids.
Like in some of the pyramids they have, sure. Like there's definitely been like
I think the step pyramid throws them all off, and the step pyramid was made way later. It looks nothing like all the other pyramids, and so they use that as a template because it's the only one that has anything that they subscribe to.
Who's they? I'm sorry. I'm
historians.
But I believe that I agree that these people are leaving notes for us, maps for us, like instructions for us based on their beliefs and the things that they their beliefs and about the earth and the gods and things like that. So they're going to leave information for us, and that's how we discover it. We break their codes and figure out, oh, they're saying that this is a portal to whatever, this to this, but at the same time, these messages are being left by people who had a far less understanding of Earth than we do. So it's like
but I think that's the arrogance of like, current humans to think and listen, I agree with you, but there is a version of this world where there was people far technologically advanced further than we are that we can't grasp.
I mean, there's things that today we can't understand how they built it. And the reason why we can't understand why they built it is because the rest of the evidence that they've left behind lets us know how dumb they were. Like with
I agree with what you're saying, but my problem with that is, I mean, this isn't me trying to make it fit. This is just kind of what I've been following towards. Is it like, well, the pyramids were built long before the civilizations that inhabited them. So we're studying civilizations that inhabited the pyramids that didn't make them. And so that they were a reset that weren't as smart. And it's convenient, it's easy to talk about that, but
it's like how in Skyrim the farmers live where the dwarves used to live. They didn't create all the dwarven architecture, they just lived there.
And it's really crazy down there. You could spend a whole nother game down there.
Oh dude, it's crazy down there. Like, watch out.
I like how let's make all frame of reference football fields and Skyrim so that people can understand.
You got to do the spectrums, man. We got the football people over here and the Skyrim people over here.
And honestly, I would rather play Skyrim than actually try to learn this stuff, because like you're not getting the proper information from anyone. It's all jumbled and nobody's
it's jumbled
right.
because it's all theories.
Yeah.
So it's like, take it all in.
And the theories are built on what they believe. So it's funny because like here we are living today saying like, well, this is all bullshit, but Jesus is coming back. So it's like,
I don't know matter how many of us are saying that. Also, I was coming up with I was thinking of a movie last night. This is probably just a sketch though, where Jesus comes back and he's like, hey, I'm back, I'm Jesus. And everyone's like, oh, cool, what's up? And he's like, yeah, no, I'm like the Christian Jesus. So I hope that you did all the things that were in the Bible. And everyone's like, yeah, no, we decided to wear different clothes with different fabrics. And he's like, nope, you're going to hell. Like all the fucking dumb rule. I see that none of you have beards. Why is that? Because you used a razor against your skin? Because
in a way, that's sort of, this is the end, right? I mean, that's not literally what you're saying, but like, this is the end, is like everyone's living in today's world in it, but it turns out Bible shit's true.
Well, yeah, but that's just everyone's dead. I want there to be a period of like 10 years where everyone tries to live by the Bible, but the Bible is so fucking like what's the word? Contradictory to itself. That it's impossible to live by. It's like trying to live in America without breaking a law. Like, you can't. There's too many laws.
Well, also, like the idea of Jesus coming back and being like, hey, can I ask you guys all a question? Yeah. Why the fuck are you all walking around with like pictures of my death all over the place? Like, that was like the last thing I want to be reminded of, and you're wearing it around your neck like it's like
you guys are fucking toxic, okay?
Yeah.
That like really triggers me.
I blocked out this whole cross thing.
Yeah,
and it's everywhere.
The last thing I want, and like that's how you that's what you remember me. I said so many fucking things. I did so many. Why not? Why don't you have a picture of me creating more fish and bread? No.
You guys just want one thing, and that's fucking death and murder. And here we go. Let's do it. Fuck all of you.
Like that's.
But anyway,
thing is like on our money. What is it? A nickel? And like they have like JFK's head, but being blown, but being.
All right. Well, we got to wrap it up. We got to say goodbye to the Straub home video audience. We're going to continue the conversation with Eric on our More Sci-Fi. Go to patreon.com/more. I'm sorry, Jesus. Patreon.com/RealLifeSciFi. 2 bonus episodes. The More and the No. They're a lot of fun. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Willie, real quick, anything?
If you want to look into the Nazca Lines, don't look at the glyphs. Look at the lines and look at what they're pointing to. And the geometry. The geometry is fascinating. I mean, I like the lines too, but I'm just like, boy, for years I didn't even see those. I mean, I know the internet's different now, but that's all. Cheers.
Trying to smash a termite on my tummy, but my tummy's too soft. I just keep ruining this guy's day.
Gross.
Dude,
You're
I've killed
flat-
like 40 of
that's
these things. I'm fully like termite. This is a nightmare for me. All right, thanks everyone for watching and listening. And remember that just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Eric. Oh, Eric, any plugs, real quick?
No, I've got nothing. Don't
No
worry
plugs.
about
Great, good.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time. Patreon.com/RealLifeSciFi. We're gonna continue the conversation. I want to do what your purge outfit would be. All right. So if you're interested in that, that's what I want to talk about. So we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Real life sci-fi.